This week's burst of inspiration is courtesy of my friend Avi in East Brunswick, who shared with me a beautiful parable that answers a question that my 6-year-old son asked me literally the morning after Avi shared this with me. You see, my son asked me, we're driving to school and trying to have somewhat of a meaningful conversation, and he says to me, is God big? Is Hashem big? Or is he small? Or is he medium? What size is God? And I said to him, I guess the best way to give you the answer is with a parable. And this was the parable. There was a dad, and he decided to entertain his son, so he took him to the airport. And they went up to the observation deck, and they're sitting there and watching the action at the airport. And all of a sudden the dad turns to the son and he says to him, son, look up. The son looks all the way up in the sky, and there's an airplane really far away, and he says to his son, how big is that airplane? And the kid measures out with his 2 hands, this small, about the size of 2 inches. A few minutes later the dad says, hey, look up at that airplane. Is it a big airplane? And the kid says, it's still pretty small. It's probably like the size of my hand. A few minutes later, again, the dad says, take a look at the airplane. He goes, oh, it's getting a little bit bigger. A few minutes later, the airplane was coming near the airport. It's beginning to circle. The kid says, wow, the airplane's pretty big. He sees it landing on the runway, and he goes, wow, that's a really big airplane. And then the airplane drives right up, taxis right up to them. And the kid's like, wow, it was a jumbo jet. It was massive, the size of a football field. The dad turns to his son, and he smiles, and he says to him, son, the same thing is with God. If you look at God from far, if you're far from God, he looks really small. You get a little bit closer, you see, he's not that small. But people that are close to God, wow, they see the greatness of God. They see how large he is. They see how amazing he is and how incredible he is. So let's make sure that this week we work on getting a little closer to God so we get a close-up view. And the closer that we get, the more shot we had of realizing how big God is, how great he is, and how he's capable of helping us with every situation and every problem we may possibly have. So hey, if this little burst of inspiration helps you get just a little bit closer, help you see a little bit more of the greatness of God, totally worth it. Shabbat Shalom. Until next week.